get another win, apply it for tomorrow.
How about pit strategies as you go, or have you got some plan in mind?
Not spin out on lap 30 like I did last Busch race here. But I wouldn't mind leading some laps early here.
Okay, Bimbo to Biffle, don't spin on lap 30. Thanks, Greg. Good luck.
Truex starting up front, Boyer starting in the back. And here we go at Phoenix for 200 laps.
That 20 car. He's hanging tough on the outside, going to lead that first lap.
Think he's got a little adrenaline going right now?
No.
Denny Hamlin won his first Nextel Cup pole position just about an hour ago here at Phoenix. He'll start first in the Cup race tomorrow.
Reed Sorensen in 41, trying to get by Regan Smith in 58. Followed by David Green in 27, Greg Biffle at yellow, 66.
Why people love racing here in Phoenix. You've got that outside groove already here. This racetrack's been here forever, and you can run side by side around this racetrack. It's slippery. You know, you've really got to drive the car. You've got to be aggressive because the car's going to slide around a lot, but why it's favored among a lot of drivers.
Biffle and Harvick on the inside of 27, take a spot away. Bump David Green back a couple of spots.
Put Biffle to 6th, Harvick to 7th, David Green back to 8th. Whoa, Biffle, big slide up the top of the racetrack.
Yeah, and you'll see that a lot, especially here in 1 and 2. We saw it a bunch of qualifying earlier today that you get down in a 1, you carry so much speed, and the cars just really, really slide up the racetrack coming off of 2.
Caution flag out. The starters and assistant starter noticed a piece of metal on the front stretch just under the flag stand.
There was some contact. I couldn't tell which cars it were, but there was contact at the start of this race where somebody did get into the back of somebody else when they threw the green flag.
Green flag, green flag. Oh.
Johnny Sauter in the 1 car trying to get under the 11 of Paul Menard. He might have lost a spot. Now, maintain that position.
Denny Hamlin, the early leader. Carl Edwards is second. Whoop, up the racetrack, Regan Smith in the yellow 58. Going to cost him a spot to Kevin Harvick.
Boyer is moving through the field. He is now in 20th position. He's going, Marty.
Yeah, well, he's making it look fairly easy at this point. He's already up to the 20th position, made up 12 spots in just 8 laps. And he actually told the team, listen, I'm passing these guys so easily in front of me. Remind me to take it easy around them. I don't want to push it too hard, too early.
Yeah, there's 3 wide in front of him.
He does not want to be in that kind of situation. Brent Sherman in 10, J.J. Yaley in 18. And I think that's the 32 car. It is, of Jason Leffler in the yellow one.
What was he thinking there, Boyer, when you see those people getting 3 wide in front of them off in the corners? No.
Hoping they would not lose any driving talent at that spot.
Oop, Leffler looking low.
That's why you need to get through this as fast as possible if you're in his position.
Now he's going to make it 3 wide down the front stretch.
Well, he's in the best spot to be if they're going to make it 3 wide. Down on the bottom.
He's got 12 tires to lean on.
Takes those 2 spots.
And that's actually fun when you're driving and you're in that 2 car and you've got a really good car and you're passing some of these guys who are struggling a little bit. It's a blast.
Got one off the pace on the back straightaway as we check Johnny Sauter in that orange number 1 car that says yellow. Moving forward.
On the inside of Regan Smith in 58. Matt Kenseth in 17, followed by Kenny Wallace on the inside. And the 11 car, Paul Menard, said, please go on. Okay, if you're not going on, Regan, I'm going to pass you on the inside.
Yeah, Regan is really sliding that car.
David Gilliland is the car that just tucked onto pit road. You might have caught a glimpse of. He's slowed in the back straightaway. NASCAR's observers report the track clear. We stay green. Matt Kenseth kind of hanging in there in 10th spot, Dave.
And trying to move forward, Alan. He was one of the first cars to take a qualifying lap this morning in the cool hours here at Phoenix International Raceway. And it definitely affected his car. Track very slippery, and Matt had to tiptoe through that qualifying lap. Probably a much better car in race trim than it was early this morning.
Meanwhile, Mark Truex Jr. losing the spot. Losing that 3rd spot to Reed Sorensen in 41.
And a little heat being put on the leader there, too. Carl Edwards kind of working over the back of Denny Hamlin.
Here comes Harvick, taking a look underneath Truex. Going to take that spot.
Marty, what's Reed Sorensen say? Looks like he's got a pretty good car.
Yeah, BP, as much as I hate to say it, I think Alan was right. Reed Sorensen's car, very good. He said it earlier in the show. Talked to Brian Patty this morning. He said, you know what? This car is at least as good as the car that won the race here last year. Big crash on front stretch.
Anthony Foyt. Outside wall, inside wall.
Also, Chris Wimmer in 23. So, appears to be some contact. We see heavy damage to their right side, and Anthony Foyt unable to get out the left side, I would think.
And Chris Wimmer dropping the window net as well. They signal to the officials that he's okay.
Oh, I see.
Looks like Wimmer got sideways when he was underneath Foyt, and when he went up the racetrack, he just took Foyt with him.
And turned that 38 car head on almost into the wall. That was a hard lane.
That was right where the safety barriers, I don't know if he got him or not. It's right where they ended over there.
Well, Anthony looks okay.
But I would suspect pretty disgusted.
Yes, I would think so. And he was just trying to pass the fella. You know, and Chris just happened to get loose as he was going by.
Anthony's had kind of a tough time getting his NASCAR career going, just getting laps, you know. I mean, it's pretty early in the day. He had an early crash in Memphis in his first race. And both of them, same thing, wrong place, wrong time.
Oh, Harvick trying to get on the inside of the 41 car. Did he make it? Maybe.
No. But that gave a little breathing room to Carl Edwards, so Edwards is going to try to get by the 20 car. He doesn't have anybody on his tail right now. Now's a good time to do it. Matt?
Well, Wally, right before BP talked to the 60 of Edwards, he had just told Brad Perry, look, as soon as I can get by this 20 car, our car, which is good, will be awesome because that clean air will be everything. The car is just a little snug in the center of the corner, but overall, he says this car is going to be great longer in the run. Dave.
And Matt, as you can imagine, Denny Hamlin likes that clean air, has been leading since the start of the race. His car just a tick loose from the middle of the corner off, but right on in his words since this race has started.
And I saw Carl Edwards down in turns 1 and 2 a moment ago, the last lap, move up high on the racetrack, trying to get out and get some clean air.
Camera dropped back a little bit because they were 2 and 3 wide for a second there about a half a lap ago, but everybody sorted that out to single file pretty quickly. While we watch the racing on the track, Marty is with Anthony Foyt,
who's come from the infield care center. Man, that was a hard hit both sides. You all right? And did you see really what happened to start it?
Yeah, I'm fine. And just the 23 car got loose underneath me and kind of had my nose up on the outside of him when he got loose and corrected and came out. Punched my nose right into the wall. So just kind of the wrong place at the wrong time, and shouldn't be back there in the first place, you know. So when you're back there, stuff like this happens.
I talked to Anthony before the race. He said, all we want today are laps. They didn't get very many of them this afternoon.
You know, I guess last week at Texas, the great clips, people were there cutting hair. He must have missed his appointment.
Very good, BP.
He's going to wish you hadn't said that.
Yeah,
I know.
but his daddy or his grandpa won't.
Yeah. J.J. Yaley in 18 trying to work around Paul Menard in 11. That's going to be for 11th place. J.J. Yaley, the subject of some news. Dave?
Yeah, take a look at as JJ tries to make that pass on the 11 car. It rolls through the middle very, very well, but is loose getting in and off the corner. That's where JJ makes his time, and it looks like he's really got position this time.
Yeah. Go ahead, Marty.
Yeah, JJ trying to make that time up in the center of the corner from the center off, and there you see the example Dave was just talking about. JJ is from Phoenix, wants to do very well for his hometown guys, and has one of his best race cars, the car they finished second with at Memphis just a few weeks ago.
I'll tell you what, that 21 car, we talked about cars looking good. We talked to Carl Edwards, but that line he took down at turns 1 and 2 to pass that 41. I was impressed with that. Matt, the 60 car, what's his problem now? Is he just too tight?
Well, he's a little snug in the center, but a little free on entry and exit, BP. His spotter just told him about 3 laps ago, the 21 is beating you pretty much in the center of the corner, so Carl changes the line, slightly helped out, but that 21's all over him. Dave?
And Matt, Kevin Harvick is looking for his first win here at the Phoenix International Speedway in the Busch Series. His best is second back in 2003. Right now, car's working very well for Kevin, just a tick tight off of turn 4, means it wants to push out toward that wall.
You can see Kevin dropping on the apron right there in 3 and 4. If your car's a little bit tight, if you drop your left front on the apron, that helps rotate the car, especially if it's pushing. And you saw him do that lap.
This is just impressive. Clint Boyer, 32nd starting spot. He's just taken over 12th. Check that. Yeah, 12th position from Paul Menard.
Man, Marty, he is going somewhere.
Oh, BP, he's moving to the front end. The awfully good race car for Clint. They've done a good job of patiently working him through the field. Talked to Gil Martin this morning. He said, you know, we may try some opposite pit strategy to get some track position, do the opposite of what the leaders do, but the car's so good right now, I think I would stick with what the leaders do and pit when they pit, don't you think, BP?
Yeah, that would be my guess, because you're right. He is incredibly fast.
He had a good qualifying lap going. He went out early, which didn't help because the track was dirty. But he went out early. He had a good lap going. He just got the car a little bit sideways in 4 on the second lap, and it just killed his lap.
Tell you what, just to remain in contention for the championship, the way things have gone for the last few weeks for this 2 car for Clint Boyer, they've really had to be very resilient. I mean, the crash in Memphis on his qualifying lap, then came back and won the race. Then he had a crash in qualifying at Texas, thank you, last week, and came back and wound up in 7th place at the finish.
Well, when you're in his position, it's all or nothing. You go for broke, you've got absolutely nothing to lose, so you just throw everything at it you can. The guy that's leading the championship has got to be looking over his shoulder all the time. He's got to be careful. He wants to win the race, but he's also, you know, trying to pay attention to what the other guys are doing. So, you know, those guys are doing what they have to do.
Creeping in on the back of J.J. Yaley to try and take 11th spot from him. Nobody heading up Denny Hamlin so far. He has been out in front for the distance of this one, but we're still pretty early here at Phoenix.
Green flag.
A lot of speedy dry up there on the high side.
Did you notice how Edwards and Hamlin moved left and then started to accelerate out of where that speedy dry was?
Did not want to spin those tires.
He's spinning them now.
Yes, he is.
Man, the 11 car way high. Paul Menard coming off turn 2.
Reason for all the oil dry. Brandon Miller drove away from the wreck scene, and then instead of going straight to pit road or down onto the apron, made a full lap around the racetrack back to pit road. And for that, he and his spotter and his crew chief have been invited to visit NASCAR officials after the race.
I think he had a ruptured oil line, and so he spilled all the oil on the racetrack.
And they don't serve tea and cookies in that trailer.
No, it's not a social event. If they're chewing out, that's what it is.
You've been there, I'm sure.
I have.
Yep. I think the best story I ever heard about that, I know they've used this line a lot of times, but calling any young driver and saying, you know, you've got a long career ahead of you in this sport, as long as we let you continue. Something to that effect, you know.
tell you. Someday I'll tell you exactly what they tell you.
Yeah. Tell you what, Kevin Harvick's looking awfully sporty in that orange 21.
He is. Cars look good since the green flag dropped to start this race. And working on Hamlin right now. I don't know, Davey. Well, maybe pushing Dave Hamlin.
And how many mechanical changes do you make to a sporty car there, Wally?
0.
Yeah, exactly. That's what they did on that stop. Just came down pit road, put on 4 fresh tires, filled it full of fuel, and didn't change a thing.
Looks like a good call to me. Working Denny Hamlin hard for that second spot.
He's gotten him loose a couple times down in 1 and 2. We'll watch this time. Gonna get him a little bit loose there, trying to get underneath him, and he may have enough where he's in a good position to take that spot going into 3. He's gonna take it right now.
And Denny Hamlin in the 20 car wisely just backs up, says, Kevin, go right ahead, take that spot.
Gotta get back to that bottom lane because he's got 3 of them lined up right behind him.
I think that's why he did that. He didn't want to be up in that top lane going through 3 and 4. He was going to lose a bunch more spots.
And Reed Sorensen, 41 on the inside of Truex. Oh, Matt, what about the 8 car?
Well, BP, you can see he's trying to hold on to position of 41 of Sorensen, working all over him. Now, his spotter, Joey Meyer, told me, now you can see Martin going down the backstretch. That's the most difficult part for him to spot for Martin, because it's almost like, as he said, watching 2 cars in a drag race and trying to say who the winner is at the end of the quarter mile. The car just a little bit on the tight side. Snyder?
A little curious about what's going on with the 41 car, because they thought yesterday they were very good in long runs as we talked to Brian Patty, but it appears that he's very good at the beginning of the run. So they're telling Reed to take it easy here. Don't push it too hard around the 8 car and just make sure that we're going to be good at the end of this run.
Save those tires.
Meanwhile, we got the 17 car of Matt Kenseth moving into this, and he has moved up the racetrack trying to find himself a different line around the speedway, different than these 2 cars.
Different line, I think some clean air as well. That helped them a lot. Going to get underneath the 41 this time.
Trying to make a run at 5th spot. Kenseth inside, Sorensen outside. David Green lurking right behind.
Well, pretty even through 3 and 4.
Boy, Reed Sorensen gets a great run-off turn for it. Keeps that spot. All right, Matt's got to regroup, try again.
Goes back to what you were saying earlier, Wally, about the racetrack and why the drivers like it so much. Sorensen's able to move around, find a little grip, a spot on the track his car likes a little more, and hold him off.
And you see the 17, he's looking around because he knows Sorensen's got the line that he probably would like to have, but he's working some other places on the racetrack. And he's awfully good on the high side. It's hard to pass somebody getting off of turn 4 when you're down on the low side.
Man, look at that move that Matt Kenseth made. He just simply turned under him and passed him down in 1 and 2. Awesome move by the 17.
Almost completely on the apron, too.
So Kenseth up to 5th, Sorensen back to 6th. You see Matt's scoring progression through the day. Started the race in 22nd position. And he's going to get another one right here.
That's the one thing that... Wow.
I think Martin saw that he was up there.
Another disadvantaged racing for a championship.
Yep.
He just couldn't take a chance that the 17 car was not going to be there, had to give that spot away.
Benny and I both grabbed a breath at the same time, thinking the same thing. He couldn't afford to take a chance on coming across that front bumper and getting turned to the right into that outside wall. So all that going on behind Carl Edwards, out in front here at Phoenix International Raceway in pursuit of victory number 5 on the NASCAR Busch Series campaign 2005. A little bit past 1/4 distance of today's NASCAR Busch Series 200 miler at Phoenix International Raceway. Carl Edwards out in front. And we take you through the field, starting with the race leader and Matt.
And a great run going by the 60 of Carl Edwards. Now, he just told Brad Parrott about 3 laps ago, so I'm a little bit loose up off the corner. They're talking about making an air pressure adjustment, Dave, on their next stop, but that car looking strong.
Crew Chief Todd Barrier very happy with the way his driver Kevin Harvick is running, but reminded him just a moment ago, save your stuff. Looks like it might be a long run. He wants Kevin to have tires at the end of it. The 17 of Matt Kenseth running very well. Decent, according to the driver before the last stop. They made no changes to that car on the stop. Matt?
Just like the 60 spotter Jason Edleski told Edwards, Martin Truex's spotter Joey Myers told him the 17 has changed his line down in turns 3 and 4. You might want to try moving up just a bit today.
David Green moving up 2 positions since the restart. He said to his crew, it's a little bit snug in the middle, but other than that, it's great. So they didn't make any changes on that pit stop. Matt?
Now the Biff has been all over the racetrack as far as balance-wise. The car's been loose and tight. He even got into the wall a little bit. Entering turn 1, they had to pull the fender out on the right front a little bit on their last stop, but it's still shoving the nose. Tight, Dave.
Denny Hamlin had complained about the handling of his race car a little bit near the end of that. They made just an air pressure adjustment on that last stop. Seems to have hurt the car a little bit. He's lost position since the restart, Marty.
Well, J.J. Yeley has lots of laps here, and that experience coming through, Dave. Started 21st today. Currently, he is in the 8th position. Was a little loose on the last one. They made no changes, but this set of tires a little too tight for him as he passes his teammate going into turn 3. Reed Sorensen's car has fallen off here on this run. They don't know what's going on because Reed hasn't told them what's going on with the race car. This is the car he won St. Louis with earlier this year, so they know it's good on this type of track. Dave? Jason
Leffler told his crew, I'm having a little trouble turning through the middle of the corner, so they made an air pressure adjustment to the right rear tire, added air. That's picked that car up. He's gotten 4 spots since the restart, Marty.
Well, Jamie McMurray was so tight on the last run, Dave. He wanted 4 rounds up on the track bar. That's a huge adjustment. Instead, they pulled a spring rubber from the left rear, added air pressure to the front, made a wedge adjustment. All of that has made Jamie's car just a little bit better. Behind him, you see the 2 car of Clint Boyer looking out from the roof of that race car. He said that the car is a little bit loose on this run. That's how it was last time. They made no changes, though, on the last stop, recovering from that bad pit stop. Dave?
Paul Menard trying to regroup after getting in the outside on that restart there. They put the track bar down on the last stop, trying to help that loose condition on that car. But again, getting offline really hurt the 11 car. He's lost positions. Matt?
And the 22 is running in the 14th position now on their last stop. The car was a little tight in the middle of the corner. They made an air pressure adjustment. It's just still barely tight. Meanwhile, Robert Yates watching his young driver having a very impressive day. Steven running right now in the 15th position. Now, the car was a little snug on the first run, but not bad. Snyder.
Well, Matt Young, John Wood has been quite impressive lately. On his last run, he was a little bit loose. They put a round in the left rear to tighten up that race car. Talk about how well he's been running. He has 2 top 10s in his last 4 races. Dave?
Johnny Sauter needed his car to turn a little bit better, so they made an air pressure and track bar adjustment to that car on the last stop. Working pretty well for Johnny. Marty?
Well, David Strimmy started 36 today, believe it or not. He has made his way up to the field to the 18th position, finished 3rd here in April. The car is a little bit too tight right now for David, and they put 2 rounds of wedge, or 2 pounds out of the left side tires last time, trying to loosen that up. Stacey Compton also has a tight race car coming off of the corners for Stacey. He too has made his way up to the field a little bit, currently running in the 19th position. Dave?
And the 25 car of Ashton Lewis started 23rd today, currently runs 20th. Trying to make a little pickup on that run is Ashton Lewis after that first round of pit stops.
There are your top 20 through the field. Carl Edwards still out in front, leading Kevin Harvick by 5-6 car lengths, and a lap car now in between them. 75 of 200 laps complete from Phoenix. You're watching NASCAR.
Harvick trying to push the 60 car, Carl Edwards by the 44 of Justin Labonte, so he could also clear him, and he did.
Whoa, Justin, a little tail happy off the corner there, but he hung on to it. That could have been an ugly spot there with all the leaders right around him.
4 car, Kevin Hamlin on the outside of Justin Labonte.
And that is for position. They're racing to be the lucky dog. That's 20th place. While we watch the action on the track, Marty is with David Stremme.
And he's come from the infield care center. Alan, what was your take on that?
Paul Menard just run me over. That's all it was. You know, the lap car's on the bottom, and I got past him, and he just flat run into me. And I got into John Wood, and we're trying to get slowed down. Both John and I get collected. And I'm going to see what he has to say after the race. Even if we got to leave the premises here, we're going to settle it. Not very happy. I'll take some of my sailors, and we'll go after him. But we've had a rough enough weekend here, and I don't know, it's just a shame.
David obviously very upset, said he is going to go have a word with Paul. As soon as this race is over, he'll be waiting for him.
Stick with him, Marty.
Just stay back a little bit. That's the phrase they use, collateral damage.
As we talked about, David's Trimmy crashed a car during practice yesterday and wiped it out, and another one today. So one reason he's so upset.
Little race for third here. Martin Truex way up the hill.
Kenseth is going to take that spot away.
So Matt to third, Truex to fourth. Boyer still runs ninth.
Meanwhile, Harvick back on the back bumper of that 60 car. Carl Edwards looking on the inside of Edwards for the lead. Oh, couldn't quite make it. Edwards had that good run off turn 4.
Wow.
A little bit of a slip there. That may have cost Edwards the lead right there. Harvick will take it.
Carl racing pretty hard on the outside.
Says Carl's not going to give it up, is he?
No, he isn't. And they come down to the line, and Edwards led that lap by 6 1/1000ths of a second.
Now here's where the 60 should have a good run off of turn 2, because he was on the high line, so he's going to take that momentum down the backstretch. But he's got to leave it open because you know Harvick's down there. Problem is, like I said earlier, it's hard to be on the inside and pull that pass off coming off of 4 here at Phoenix, because you need that all that racetrack to drift and keep your speed up.
Meanwhile, as these two leaders battle back, Kenseth, the 17 car, has pulled up on the back bumper of 21.
Good stuff.
It is good stuff.
Edwards, Harvick, Kenseth. First, second, and third.
He's going to take a look on the high side like he's been really doing all race. Working that high line.
Got to give Harvick a little more to think about now, too, than just trying, how do I get around Edwards?
Right. Now he's looking in the mirror. He didn't have to do that earlier.
Yeah, exactly. Now do I become offensive or defensive? Which one do I worry about, the one in front or the one behind?
To pass the leader, you got to be the one closest to the leader.
Yep.
So far, Carl able to hold him off. Let's talk a little strategy here just for a second while we watch to see if Harvick's able to mount another charge. Leaders all made their pit stops with 90 laps to go. Have they come in for the last time today?
Oh, yes. If the caution flag doesn't come out, and if the caution, the battle for the lead, if the caution comes out with 20, 30 to go, another car will still stay out.
Edwards is working that steering wheel.
And he's got a huge smile on his face, too, I'm sure.
As he's doing it. Oh, me, way too high that time.
Yep.
Lost a spot, might lose second spot.
That was a hell of a time right there.
So, Kevin Harvick, the leader, and Edwards now left to try and fend off Kenseth for second. Dave?
And Alan, something happened to Kevin Harvick's car right near the end of that last run. A right front tire was going down in air quickly. He ran over some debris, and they were losing air on it. 2 observations since then. One, how lucky are these guys that the caution came out when it did? And secondly, the fact that he can pass for the lead, they didn't adjust against that right front tire that was losing air because he's running so fast. That makes sense, right, Walt?
Yes.
I mean, sometimes when you have a tire going down, you can actually make a wrong adjustment based on false information.
Right, you think it's a chassis, not the tire, so you'll go ahead and make a change, and then you find out it's a tire. Too late. Matt?
And Brad Parrott calling out the lap times to his driver, Carl Edwards. The car is just way too loose. What happened on the last pit stop, Brad?
We couldn't find our wedge wrenches. You know, we work hard at doing everything perfect, and sometimes you miss things, and no excuse in it. But the World Financial car, we're a little bit too loose right now, but we're better on the long run, and we'll get it back. We got the toughest driver.
Do you stop again, or are you done?
Yeah, we stop again if we run a 40-lap run here. But we're going to go back and get this guy.
So Matt, they wanted to make an adjustment, but they couldn't. Was that what it was?
Absolutely, AB. They went ready to make that wedge adjustment. They looked for the wedge wrench. could not find it anywhere in the toolbox. When they did find it, it was too late.
I'm not sure this car is going to get better on a long run as lucid as this right now. Talking about Carl Edwards' car. We'll have to wait and see.
Been able to hold on Kenseth for now in second spot, but Kevin Harvick has gotten by Carl. Here was Brad Parrott's reaction after that pit stop when he found out they couldn't make the adjustment they wanted.
Kenseth, 17 car in the second spot and less than 1 second behind the leader, Kevin Harvick.
That one was a while in the making.
Yeah, you can see Carl turning that steering wheel to the right, coming off of 4 and 2. And I think that car's too loose. I don't think that car's right. Yeah, it's pretty loose. That car's not going to tighten up enough to where he's going to make up any ground. They need that adjustment.
What's your hint? J.J. Yeley just lost a spot a couple laps ago to Clint Boyer. Now he is fighting with Greg Biffle to try and hang on to the 8th position. Yeley in the orange car right there, on board with Biffle.
And we can see how far away from J.J. Yeley that Clint Boyer is half a straightaway in just a couple of laps.
Now, two ways to look at this if you're Boyer. He's not losing a lot of ground today, and he's still got a shot come Homestead, but
he's not gaining any ground either.
Yep. Let's take you through the field, starting with the leader, Kevin Harvick, and Dave Burns.
And Alan, that car being out in front now, out from behind Carl Edwards. All that air pressing down to the front end has made Kevin's car just a tick loose, just a touch, he said. But it's a pretty good car, obviously. Still leading the 17 of Matt Kenseth, who's now trying to pursue and catch him on the last stop. His car was just a tick tight. They made air pressure adjustments on 3 of those 4 tires. Matt?
Dave, only about 4 laps ago, Carl Edwards was less than a second back from leader Kevin Harvick, but now it's almost 2 full seconds. His spotters just trying to tell him, try to move around. Your car is so free. See if that will help. Meanwhile, championship point leader Martin Truex Jr. runs back and forth. They backed up on the track bar adjustment, trying to fix the bounce of that car. It was tight, but then snappy loose. Dave? On the last pit stop, David Green's crew made a track bar and air pressure adjustment for a car that was a little tight in the middle. Their big topic of discussion, hey, if we get a caution flag with about 40 or 30 to go, do we pit for 2? Do we stay out? Do we pit for 4? We'll see. The 32 of Jason Leffler has had a great run today. Restarted 6th. He stays in that position right now. Tight at the end of the run, forced him to make a track bar adjustment. A big one, 2 rounds up. Marty?
Well, Dave, Clint Boyer told me this morning to truly race for the championship next week at Homestead, we have to cut the lead in half today. Currently, they're 3 positions behind Martin Truex Jr. Not going to get there doing the way they're doing right now. Car just a little bit tight right now for Clint Boyer. Behind him, J.J. Yeley, the Phoenix native, announced today in his hometown that he will drive the 18 Cup Series car next year for Joe Gibbs Racing. He's a little bit loose off the corners. They want to try a different line in turn 3. Matty?
About 25 green flag laps on this set of tires for Greg Biffle, running back in the 9th position. Hasn't said much lately about that overheating problem. They made a host of adjustments, Marty, on that last stop just to try to free the car out.
Matt, the times for Reed Sorensen have fallen off. Currently, he's in the 10th position because they have a voltage issue. Now, they don't have a meter inside the car. All they have is a light, and that light is on, so they have a backup battery in the pits in case they need to put it in. Dave?
Denny Hamlin disillusioned with his car right now that started the race so well and led laps at the beginning. He radioed to his crew, I think we just didn't keep up with a tightening racetrack. Our adjustments need to be a little bit bigger. They'll try to make them near the end here, but they've lost a lot of ground. The one of Johnny Sauter on that last stop, he said, my car won't turn from the center of the corner off. They made a track bar wedge and air pressure adjustments to try to help Johnny. Matt?
Now back in 13th and 22, had a bad wheel vibration on the previous run. Now he's got the 90 car. That young rookie, Stephen Light, trying to chase him down. They made an air pressure adjustment and track bar adjustment on the last stop. Now just to let you know, BP, Robert Yates has moved from the team pit box down to turns 1 and 2 to try to get a better look at his driver. Dave?
Not good descriptions from Paul Menard on the last run. Sliding all over the place. Can't feel the front tires. The front end feels light. They made an air pressure adjustment, track bar adjustment. Also put a spring rubber in the right rear to try to help Paul. Marty?
Well, Dave, Jason Keller is tight from the middle of the corner off, so I just can't get back to the gas like Paul Menard can. That's where he's beating us, trying to catch him, do the best they can. Jason's so good at this type of racetrack. 3 top 10s in his last 6 Phoenix starts. Stacey Compton says the car is good. They want no changes on the next stop, but the problem is getting a a little bit tighter the longer he ran. They started at the back of the field today. Did you see 42nd? He's made his way up to 17th after they found a pinhole in the radiator hose this morning. Jamie McMurray, check out the changes they made on the last stop. Pound out of both left side tires. They opened up the right front shock 5 clicks, the left front shock 2 clicks, and up on the track bar. He said the changes made it much better. Dave?
Last car in the lead lap, Ashton Lewis Jr. started the day 23rd. Has really been mired back in traffic all day long. Currently 19th. They made a little adjustment on the last run to try to help him wedge and track bar for Ashton. Alan?
There are the lead lap cars, 19 of them, with just under 50 laps to go. The leader is Kevin Harvick, in search of another win. It would be his second in just a couple of weeks' time. Harvick ahead of Kenseth Edwards, Truex, and Green.
Green flag.
21 laps to go. Green flag.
All right, this time the 60 car, I'm sure they found the tool to make the adjustment on the chassis. So
I'm sure you're right. Harvick leads, Edwards second, Bowyer third, Truex fourth, Biffle fifth.
Wow, Bowyer got through turn 3, and there goes Edwards. Take a look underneath Harvick. He's there. Gonna force Harvick on the high side, going into 1. Got it.
And Bowyer tried to squeeze in there. Here's Harvick with the crossover.
he's got that preferred position going in turn 3.
Nice move.
Carl Edwards said, man, oh man, did he get a run in 3, that 60 car.
Look at that thing sideways. Carl Edwards is driving the heck out of that car right now. That
Wally, Brad Parrott told as the 21 tries another shot out of the inside. Brad Parrott told Carl, look, we've got about 15 to 20 laps, and it takes about 25 laps for the 21 to come in, so we should be better on this short run to the finish. Snyder?
What a battle for the lead, Matty, with 19 to go. And the same for Clint Bowyer. Takes about 10 laps for their car to come in, but once it does, they are faster than both of the cars in front of them.
I think Edwards is looking in the mirror going, it takes how long for that 21 to come in?
It doesn't look to him like it takes that long. Here's Harvick on the inside, down the back. He's there. Look at Carl Edwards drive that car in turn 3 on the outside. Man, good stuff. Meanwhile, the 17, Kenseth, going by Truex on the outside, taking a spot away, or trying to. They're racing every place, back to the lead.
There's no way through for Bowyer, even if he is faster, Marty.
And he just came on the radio and said, guys, I'm thinking championship here, so he's not pushing the issue, although he wouldn't take it too wide there with Harvick.
He's trying to take a look on the inside of Harvick, but Harvick comes down the racetrack.
Oh, look at him.
Clint Bowyer wants to.
Off the corner, hit your marks, Carl. 16 to go, 16.
That's what Carl wants. He wants that 2 car messing with that 21 car for position.
It's the 21 and 2. Harvick and Bowyer are teammates for Richard Childress Racing. Oh, a little slip there by Bowyer. Costing a few car lengths. And here comes Matt Kenseth into the picture.
And Biffle goes by the 8 car of Truex. And here comes Leffler on the 32.
Truex got a little damage a minute ago and some contact. Yeah, look at that right front fender.
Yes, got some contact. Justin Labonte tried to go underneath, and I don't think Labonte saw that he was there.
Just knocked in that flare on the right front fender, which does affect the handling on these race cars.
Truex back to 6th. Couple of lead lap cars right behind him. Matt?
Now, BP, you were talking about the 8 and the fact that that car was tight earlier. You add that damage to the right front, it's really plowing now.
Yeah. These guys are driving really hard right now. Harvick real loose off 3 and 4. Time to go.
And Carl Edwards he's given him the bottom of the racetrack. Carl said, I'm going to run my line the best place my car gets around the racetrack. If the 21 can beat me, so be it.
I think the only car that can really do that is the 2 car. The 2 car is the best car here on the bottom of the racetrack as he takes that spot from Harvick.
Boyer to second. Here comes Kenseth to challenge Harvick for third, Dave.
And Kenseth lost spots on that pit stop, Alan. Remember, he went in second. Rear tire changer slipped on the way around in some fuel that had been spilled. That's where they lost time. He restarted 5th.
He's trying to take third. Now, this is going to get interesting with Boyer here.
Yeah, because you got Edwards running the high line, which he's fast there, and then you've got Boyer on the low line, but I really think Boyer's car is a little bit quicker.
I believe you're right. This 2 car has been good all day, been back in traffic. He's never had the chance to show how fast it is until now.
Harvick and Kenseth, third place.
And Boyer right on the bumper now of Carl Edwards.
10 laps to go.
In the center down there. 10 laps, 10.
Now watch, see right here, this is where the 2 car is so strong, right on the bottom of the racetrack. Oh boy, that is just what you want here at this racetrack. Matt?
That's what his spotter, Jason Hedleski, just told Carl. He gets a run on you in the center of the corner. What a great battle here, closing in 10 to go.
I tell you what, if Carl Edwards keeps that 2 car behind him for 10 laps, it's going to be something, because this 2 car is really fast.
I just don't think he can leave that door open down in 3 and 4, Carl Edwards. If he lets the 2 car get underneath him in 3 and 4, I think it's all over.
Little change of lines there in 1 and 2, huh? Carl had been running up. He protected that bottom line that time.
I noticed that.
This is the mirror line.
Marty?
Alan, you and BP were in Memphis. You remember the run for Clint Boyer there. Started last, won the race. Same exact race car today. Can he make it from 32nd to the win today? That's the question.
Brad Parrott talking to Carl Edwards.
Hey, what, that's impressive on the 60, doing what he's doing right now.
Now that he moved down the 60, moved down in front of the 2, now the 2 car is getting that dirty air, and he's not handling as well as he was before.
But that's what he's trying to do right there. He's trying to loosen up the 60 car, and the 2 car is good enough. Boyer's good enough. He needs to get the 60 loose to get that spot, now that Carl has moved to the bottom of the racetrack.
Oh, man, did Carl drive that baby down in turn 1.
And here comes Kenseth joining that chase.
On the entry, hold the bottom line.
I'm wondering if they made contact there hard enough to put a wrinkle in Boyer's right front fender. Doesn't look like it slowed him down any.
I don't think it was that big a deal, but now he's got Kenseth to worry about.
And Kenseth is there in the 17 car. Wow, he goes by Boyer with ease. Oh, but 17 got it loose on turn 2.
Here comes Boyer for second. Edwards is going to love it if they get racing side by side for long.
Exactly. This is good for Carl Edwards. These guys running side by side. Carl will just start driving away a little bit. But Boyer needs to make this a clean pass so the 17 won't mess with him anymore.
5 laps to go.
This car is awfully good.
Clint Boyer, 2 guys he's going to race with next year, the year after.
I'm telling you what a job, what a drive today by Clint Boyer. 32nd starting spot. Spent the first 160 laps of this thing trying to crack into the top 5. Finally did. Now he's up here racing for the win. Even if he finishes second, he's ahead of Truex. He's left himself a shot at the championship next Saturday in Miami.
I tell you what, finish third in this group, it would not be bad news. Some great race cars, some great drivers he's racing with.
And now what he's looking for is that slip in that 60 car in front of him.
17 on the apron, gets the car a little bit loose. Loses a little ground on Boyer there.
Marty?
Clint Boyer heard Richard Childress on the radio. He said, hey, you're over-driving in turns 3 and 4. Take it easy through there.
Pretty hard when you're following that 60 car.
And he's driving away from him.
Yeah, he's driving away, and he's doing a good job.
Kenseth trying the higher line to see if he can get a run. 2 to go.
That wasn't impressive. Carl did not have the best car there for 5 or 6 laps, and he kept those guys behind him.
I tell you what, he drove that car down in 3 once and down in 1. And thankfully it stuck. Otherwise, he's in the wall someplace. Great job by Edwards, Boyer, Kenseth.
Flag, last lap. Clear by 3.
Good stuff.
1 more mile for Carl Edwards to pick up the win. Boyer not quite close enough to mount a challenge, but still incredible drive today. Matt Kenseth made it fun in the final laps as well. But you want to talk about a driver on the roll. The young man from Missouri behind the wheel of that 60 car, Carl Edwards, racing for a championship on Sundays and another win on Saturday.
Way to go, baby. You are the man. You are the man. Good job, guys. That was racing.
That was racing. That's what makes this racetrack so fun.
Great teamwork, guys. That's a team effort there today, boys. Great job, Carl. Awesome job, dude.
Can't disagree with any of that. It was great racing. It was a great job by the crew and a great job by Carl. 5th win of 2005 in the NASCAR Busch Series for Carl Edwards. And by the way, the first race won from the pole here in Phoenix in the NASCAR Busch Series. Dave?
And catching up with Todd Parrott right now, coming down from the box. Even after a pit stop where you didn't get the adjustment you needed, Todd, your guys came back.
It's Brad Parrott. Okay?
Oh, sorry, Brad. Oh, you know, one day this year I was going to do that.
You guys are at. That's okay. You know, my brother's great, and Carl Edwards is great. We got the adjustment. We needed that caution bad, and, you know, Carl Edwards got up on the steering wheel. We added some air pressure, took some pressure away, and didn't fill it up with that great Sunoco gas. And Carl Edwards in the World Financial car, we finally got World Financial a win, and that's number 5 for us. So I keep getting 5 every year. I hope Jack keeps me around.